Good morning, everyone. Morning. Welcome to the County of Newell Municipal Planning Commission meeting, April the 8th, 2026. MPC is around the table. I see one empty chair. Could we have a motion to excuse Councillor Johnson, please? Councillor Baumgarten moves to excuse Councillor Johnson. All in favor of the motion? That is carried. Minutes are enclosed in our package. Are there any errors or omissions? How do you wish to handle them? Councillor Kopp?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Thank you. All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Are there any post-agenda items? Okay, seeing none. Adoption of the agenda, please.
So moved.
Councillor Reeve-Dirksen. All in favor of the motion, please. Thank you. That is carried. Development permit report is in our package. Are there any questions? Seeing no hands, we'll accept that for information. Unless you want to highlight something, Shanalee? No? All right, thank you for that. Subdivisions, 7.1. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning. Thank you, Madam Chair. This subdivision is located just west of the city of Brooks. The proposal is to subdivide a 3.68 hectare portion from the northwest of 1914 to be consolidated with a 2.75 hectare parcel in the southwest of 6. So essentially it's joining two pivot corners. Access to the proposed parcel and the remnant are both from Range Road 15-0. There is an existing house, a detached garage, and a shed located on the proposed parcel. The house and garage meet the setbacks of the land use bylaw. However, the shed is 0.75 meters closer to the property line. So the Municipal Planning Commission will have to grant a variance for that. The house is serviced by a septic field for wastewater, and potable water is hauled in. First reading was given to a land use amendment bylaw at the last council meeting to allow for the subdivision. So a recommended condition is that the land use be changed from agriculture to agricultural small lot to allow for the finalization of this subdivision. There were no concerns raised by adjacent landowners. Municipal Services has indicated that Range Road 15-0 is on the list for reconstruction and widening. So they would like MPC to consider the condition that the landowner give a 5-meter strip of land to be used for road widening prior to the finalization of the subdivision. There were no other concerns raised by internal departments. The City of Brooks, TELUS, and Fortis had no concerns. Alberta Health Services commented that potable water and septic services be completely contained on the property, and it is. The EID had its standard conditions that the applicant consult with them regarding the continued use of irrigation water. So it is recommended that this subdivision be approved with the conditions that all property taxes be paid, any easements, utility right-of-ways be registered concurrently with the subdivision. If a development agreement is required with the county, that the applicant do that. That pursuant to the MGA, a 5-meter wide portion of land be dedicated by caveat along Range Road 15-0 frontage for the remnant parcel and the newly created parcel for road widening, and that the land use amendment receive third reading prior to the finalization of the subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Are there questions? Reeve-Dirksen.
Thank you. Thank you for that this morning. With regard to the 5-meter easement for the road widening, that would be compensated for, right? Or what's the what's the standard with that?
The county does not have to compensate when it's part of a subdivision. So there are other municipalities that automatically take 5 meters for any subdivision along the subdivision and the remnant for future use. And that's just, you know, if they ever need it. The County of Newell has done that very historically, but hasn't done it for a long time. So there is the opportunity. But in discussions with municipal services, we wanted to leave the compensation portion out of it for you know, to decide once they discuss with the landowner.
Thank you. Yeah.
Any other questions? Questions on this application? Councillor Kopp.
Because we're looking at a variance that's very small, seeing as we're moving lines anyway, why did we not just move the line to where it needed to be instead of us having to grant a variance again, instead of sticking to the rules?
Maria?
Well, and I guess that's part of, you know, building a house prior to a subdivision, maybe not having the forethought. With this subdivision, the lines are such that the irrigation, the pivot doesn't encroach onto that subdivision. So that means then that shed has to be that much closer. To move it out now, you're looking at encroachments of water and steel of pivots. So it's pretty tight lines.
Makes sense. Any other questions on this application? Maria, how common is it to combine 2 quarters into one parcel? Common, overarching.
I would say not that common. I think it would be more common that 2 pivot corners be separated as 2 different parcels. In this situation, because of its location to the city of Brooks, and now I'm speculating, however, because a municipal reserve payment would have to be paid had it been an additional lot. In order to avoid that payment, they can consolidate and then there's no new lots being created, so municipal reserve won't be required. And they're wanting to use it as one parcel, so.
Thank you. How do you wish to handle the application? Councillor Screever.
Yeah, I'd like to make the motion to approve with conditions.
Thank you. And all the conditions are outlined in perfect. Any other questions, comments? All in favor of the motion? That is carried then. Thank you. There were no post-agenda. Is there a reason for in-camera? Okay, thank you. No information items. Any questions in the queue, Catherine? I'll adjourn the meeting then. Thank you.
And I'll suggest Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our council meeting for Wednesday, April the 7th, 8th. Yesterday was the 7th, so the 8th. Okay. Good to see everybody here. We have one person missing. Do we have could we get a motion to excuse Councillor Holly Johnson? Councillor Hofer makes that motion. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. We have minutes circulated for the March 25th meeting, council meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? Any comments on those, or alternatively a motion to approve as circulated? Councillor Chrisman makes a motion to approve. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. Are there any post-agenda items for today's meeting that anyone has? I think we're good. So then a motion to adopt the agenda as circulated would be in order. Councillor Scandrup, thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. I'm going to suggest that we go straight to item number 8.1. Right. Yeah. Thank you. Excuse me. Get the right page here. Presentation of the audited financial statement, and I'm pleased that we have our auditor here with us, Chandra Doe. Welcome, and I'll maybe turn this over to Stephanie to begin with. So you can make introductions officially, maybe if we need to do that. So, but I think we've done that already, so we're good. Sorry about that, but welcome to our meeting. Good to have you here this morning, Chandra.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. So I'm going to give a kind of a brief overview of your financial statements for the year, the audit report that's attached to those financial statements. I do have a couple of graphs, which are the key performance indicators where we compare you to other municipalities in Alberta, and then I'll very briefly describe what's in our post-audit letter. So as you mentioned, my name is Chandra Doe. I'm a partner with Avail CPA, and so previously your partner in charge was Darren Adamson. Darren is starting to phase into retirement, so he has passed the torch on to me, but he's still around for another year. So as I mentioned, I'm going to review the audit report. I'm going to go over a summary of your financial statements, talk about some indicators of financial condition, post-audit letter content, and then you're welcome to ask questions anytime throughout the presentation. You don't have to wait until the end. So the audit report kind of summarizes the whole audit process and procedure, and then gives our opinion at the end. So our opinion is that the company financial statements present fairly in all material respects the financial position of the County of Newell as of December 31st, 2025. The basis for our opinion is we conduct our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards. We maintain independence from the county, and we believe the audit evidence we've obtained is sufficient and appropriate for us to provide our opinion. Management's responsibilities is for the preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements and for the internal controls that are necessary to ensure that the information is free from material misstatement. And then as council, your governance responsibilities is to oversee the financial reporting process. And then our responsibility as your auditor is to obtain reasonable assurance that the financial statements are free from material misstatement. To do that, we identify and assess any risks so that we can design audit procedures that are responsive to those risks. We develop an understanding of your internal controls, again, so we can design procedures that are appropriate for your operations. We evaluate the policies that you use, the reasonableness of any accounting estimates prepared. We conclude on the ability for the organization to continue as a going concern, and we evaluate the overall presentation, structure, and content of your financial statements. So that's the audit in a nutshell. So now I'll dive into some of the statements, and I jump around a little bit, so if you're trying to follow along on the paper, it might be a little bit tricky, but the statement of operations is the second statement that you'll find. And what this reports is how the municipality did during the current fiscal year. So you can see, and it's presented with 3 lines. So we have your budget. What did you anticipate was going to happen in 2025? What actually happened in 2025? And how does that compare to the prior year in 2024? So you can see that the county anticipated a slight decrease in revenues and dropped the budgeted revenue from the prior year down to $42.5 million, but actually came in at $46.5 million. So you actually came in higher than budgeted. Some of the main items impacting that is the Lake Newell Path special levies that were assessed, budgeting conservatively for investment income because the rates can fluctuate and out of your control. So that came in quite a bit higher than budgeted. And also some revenue related to the wildfire relief and your water project deposits. On the expense side, you had budgeted to come in at $36.8 million of expenses, which was a budgeted increase from the prior year. Part of the budget increase related to the operations of the Crop Diversification Center. That was new this year. And you actually came in under budget at $34.2 million. And so some of that relates to just less gravel, road, and culvert repairs necessary. So budget again conservatively, anticipating that there might be some repairs, and it came in under that. So that's great. So what that reflects in your ending surplus before other items is you had budgeted for $5.6 million of surplus, and you came in at $12.3. The county also has some other items that impact revenue and expenses. So you have some amounts contributed to other government and agencies, some insurance proceeds that came in, and then your biggest other item is the government transfers for capital. So there was $3.3 million of revenue recognized related to government transfers for capital. And the reason this shows down below the line is because it's related to capital projects rather than the operations itself. So that increases the ending surplus up to $15.6 million. You had began the year with an accumulated surplus of $362 million, and so that increases it to $377 million. So that's a very big number, and often the question that maybe comes up is, well, that's quite large. Why does the county have such a big surplus? Well, the biggest reason is that it is not all in cash. It is not all available to spend. And so there's some notes and some schedules that come in further down the statements that help explain what that's made up of. So I have that a little bit further down in the presentation. So then if we jump back to the statement of financial position, so after the year, this is a snapshot on how you ended the year. And so at the top, we have your financial assets. Financial assets are anything that's either cash or expected to be converted into cash in the future. So at the top, we have your cash and cash equivalents sitting at $26 million, which is an increase of about $3 million from the prior year. You have some different types of receivables. So you have your taxes receivable, your trades receivable, and so those both increased as well. Your land held for resale was sold this year, so you'll see there's nothing to report this year, but you did have a comparable balance for the prior year. And your investments, so the county also has not just cash, but cash that they've then invested into holdings which are going to earn some income for you, and that's sitting at $129 million at the end of the year. So total financial assets is almost $170 million, which is up about $9 million from the prior year. On the financial liabilities, so anything that we expect to be using up cash in the future, there's about $3.9 million of bills to be paid in your accounts payable and accrued liabilities. You also have some employee benefit obligations. This is your vacation owing, overtime owing, flex time, those type of things. Unearned revenue is a big decrease from the prior year, and what that reflects is that you've spent grant revenue that you received last year that was earmarked for certain purposes, and you still ended the year with $517,000 of grant revenue that is for specific items and has not yet been spent on those specific items. The county also has some long-term debt in place, so about $3.6 million of debt, and you'll see that that's increased. There is a new financing obligation this year And so that increased your debt load by about $875 million, or sorry, 875,000, not million. And then your asset retirement obligation. What this reflects is the estimated cost to reclaim landfills, to remove asbestos, that type of thing. I'm sure you kind of remember when that came in. It was a very big project for your team to come up with what is that liability that we have and what is the dollar amount that's tied to that liability. And so every year we review it. This year you'll see it went down, and that has to do with some reclamation work that was done on the landfills. So your total financial liabilities decreased this year by around $1 million. And so that leaves an increase in your net financial assets of $9 million. So you also have non-financial assets. So these are items that we don't anticipate will be cashed out. And so prepaid expenses just reflect expenses paid in the current year that move forward to, so it's where it straddles the year end. Your tangible capital assets is your biggest one. So these are items such as buildings, roads, water systems, and so the county has invested $216 million in its tangible capital assets. And then there's some inventory for consumption at $2.4 million, and that's mostly made up of gravel. So your total non-financial assets is close to $219 million. I guess any questions before I'm kind of just flying through, so. Okay, I will keep going. So accumulated surplus, as I mentioned before, that accumulated surplus is a very large balance at $377 million. And so what this schedule does is it shows you what the breakdown of those, what those equity items are. So at the end of the year, you had $16.8 million of unrestricted net assets. So the way that I think of the unrestricted net assets, it's the organization's checking account. It's what's available for your management to operate. Your equity and tangible capital assets is the $212 million that you've invested in your capital. And so again, it's part of the equity of the overall county, but it's not available to spend. It's already been spent and invested into the county. And then restricted surplus of $148 million, and this is the county's savings account. So this is saying we know we have some expenditures that are going to happen in the future. We don't want to have to try and pay for those all in one year. We're going to earmark some money for the future. So then the statements have, so those are kind of the bulk of the statements, and everything that follows in them is really just supplemental information to the numbers that we already have seen. So that is the bulk of my presentation, and the next stuff will flow pretty quickly. So one of the other statements in here that I find really useful is the statement of cash flows. Because everything is reported on an accrual basis, the cash flow then says, okay, well, that's great. What does that mean for our cash balance? And so operations this year brought in $21.3 million of cash. The county used $15 million of that cash to invest in its capital and invested $4.2 million. Financing brought in this year a net amount of $733,000 of cash, and that's that new financing term that came in, minus all the payments for the others that you had previously held. And so 2025 is reporting a cash increase of $2.8 million. The financial statements also have several notes to the financials, and what these are, the first one is significant accounting policies. And what this does is it shows or explains how items are treated within the financial statements for our purposes. And then everything following that is typically referenced, and they provide supplemental information to reported balances that we see within the financial statements. Yeah. So then that's everything I had for the financial statements themselves. Does anybody have any questions before I jump into your key performance indicators?
Thank you. Are there any questions? Great.
Can you
Counselor.
pull your mic a little bit closer
Oh,
to you?
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's not your fault. It's my ears. So,
Is this better? Okay. So the indicators of financial condition, sorry, there's a report that we put together and we'll provide to management with several graphs. So I've just kind of grabbed a snapshot of a few of them. And what this does is it compares you to other municipalities in Alberta so you can see how the county is performing. So the first one is your assets to liabilities, and what this reflects is if you had to pay off all your liabilities, would you have the assets to cover it? And you can see from the graph you have strong assets to liabilities. You could cover your liabilities 34 times. The next one is your operating expenses to taxable assessments. So what this indicator provides is how fast are your expenses growing in relation to your tax assessments. And you can see that you have held very steady. This line before the underline is yours. And so you can see that you trend basically the same and are very comparable to the other similar municipalities. The next one is your public debt charges to revenue. And so you can see that you have very little debt in comparison to your revenue sources. So, even though you took out new financing this year, it made really no difference to your debt to revenue. This last one is your source revenue to taxable assessments. And so again, you can see that you trend very consistent from year to year at just over 1%. And then I believe this is the last one. So this is accumulated surplus available for future use. You have very strong, so County of Newell is the blue line. You can see that you have very strong savings in your reserves in comparison to other municipalities. And then the last thing that I had on my agenda was just to very briefly summarize the post-audit letter. The post-audit in there, we kind of just give a very a brief summary of how the audit went. We can confirm that we noted no illegal acts or fraud. Having said that, the audit isn't designed to detect those items, but if we ever found anything that caused us any concern, it would absolutely be identified and brought up, but we didn't. We had no disagreements with management. We appreciated all of their hard work and help, and they were very great to work with. We didn't encounter any difficulties during the audit. And then the post-audit letter does also mention some emerging items that are coming up. One of them is some changes to the financial statement presentation. Some of them I actually am very happy to see. They're removing some schedules that don't really offer a lot of information and just make your statements even bigger than they already are. And then, so we'll work with your management team to make sure that those presentation changes are appropriately adopted next year. And then conceptual framework for reporting is not an accounting standard, but basically, as it mentions, it's the framework for what we do. And so it talks about, and it better defines what it is to be a public sector entity, what your assets are, what your liabilities are, and those type of things. I don't anticipate that it's going to make any changes to what you do, but we'll keep on top of it and let management know of anything that we think they need to know. Any other questions?
Anybody have any questions? Oh, Councillor Baumgarten, go ahead, please.
All right, thanks. It was a very good presentation. Just for my slow mind, so it looks like our accumulated surplus has gone up by 3 to 4 million. Those are years. That would be slide, I can't remember. The second last one. So that trend has continued for a long time. Like that's just how it goes. That's great. I mean, that gives a lot of comfort in terms of our financial position. So I'm just making sure I understand the numbers correctly. So accumulated surplus restricted, that's kind of what we have available for projects readily available?
Go ahead, Matt. Thanks.
Yeah, good question through the chair. So your restricted surplus is not entirely available. So there are some of those amounts that are supported by long-term receivables on your local improvement projects. So that you're going to have to wait for, 10, 20 years to see all that cash come in. When you look at the balance sheet and what is sitting in investment, so that 129 is relatively liquid. The caveat with that is depending where interest rates are at any given moment will determine whether you want to pull the trigger and realize a gain or crystallize a loss on your investment. So we do work with our investment advisors out of CIBC to stagger and ladder the maturity. So we've always got some cash that is free in any given year to take care of capital and anything else that might be coming at us. But yes, we have had a trend of increasing accumulated surplus. At budget time, one of my go-to charts to put in front of council is a net worth tracking. So it shows the value in TCA, the value in cash, what you've got for liabilities, and then the sum of that is your net worth. You want to see that trending upwards. If you intend to replace your existing roads, bridges, all the things that you currently have, we replace them at a cost higher than historic costs. So we're just in our piggy bank, we're right around that. We've got 100% of our accumulated amortization charge set aside for future asset replacement. I'd remind council, we've got bridges on the books that have been fully amortized. They cost $50,000 to build in 1953, and we're replacing those things for $500,000 and $1 million. So comparatively to other municipal districts, the County of Newell is in excellent financial shape. Could we be in more excellent financial shape where your hands aren't out begging the province for grants to replace your capital? Yes, but we have made excellent progress, and we've done it at below average tax rates, which we'll get to later in the meeting.
Yeah, thank you. Any other questions? No, go ahead, Councillor Baumgarten.
Just a quick question on ARO. Those assumptions in terms of abandonment costs, reclamation, all those types of things, are those updated and reviewed quite a bit? Because I know my background, oil and gas, was terrible at it. Like, they were way underestimated. Like,
They are reviewed every year. So we take those costs that were originally determined through experts, and kind of, I think you had used multiple experts to sort of determine based on everybody's different expertise. And then every year we do look at them and accrete them. So we increase them based on a reasonable percentage rate. It is an estimate, so it's not perfect. When you go to actually do the work, it will definitely be different than what we've guessed, but we followed all of the kind of recommended processes for doing it as best we can.
Thank you. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'll just make an observation, and I expect you'll agree that we, as a council, have reason to be very appreciative to those who have come before in terms of the strength that this county enjoys, and also a responsibility to continue that trend as it's been precast for us in the past. So I just want to say that we appreciate the people who have set us up in a good position, and the opportunity that we have to enjoy the benefit of that as leaders of our county. So expect you agree with me, and I appreciate the work that you've done to do the audit for us.
Yeah, thank you. I agree. Yeah, I think you guys have done, like you said, the people who have come before. I think the county obviously is always looking to the future and making good long-term fiscal decisions. So, and thank you to your team for all of their work. We know the audit, we are pretty disruptive, and we appreciate all of their efforts.
Thank you, as do we, and that's why I say what I say as well. And with that, if there's a motion to accept the audited presentation as presented, that would be in order. Councillor Baumgarten? All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you for coming in today, Chandra, and your presentation.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me come and present.
Yeah, thank
Have
you.
a great day.
Yeah, thank you. Shall we move back to the beginning of our agenda, the front of the agenda, or should we take the other financial?
Let's get the budget, 9.1.
Yeah, 9.9? 9.1, yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good advice. I think while we're talking about finances and are in that frame of mind, let's move to 9.1, the approved approval of the 2026 final budget, and we'll be looking for first reading today, correct? Approval of the final. Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, through the chair. Good morning, council. It's a big day numbers-wise. All the numbers are in front of you. Rear view mirror, front view. So we're talking 2026 final budget. We try really hard as an administration to have no surprises in the final budget. Typically, the process is we do all the heavy lifting, get a really good interim budget in place that sets the stage for what we're going to be doing. Capital operations, that gets passed in December. Fast forward a few months, we get updated figures for assessment, so we see what new assessment is there, where did inflation go. We play with those numbers and we try and arrive at the municipal property tax revenue target we had set at interim. So at interim, we were looking for about a 2.5% increase overall in municipal taxes. So that would give us another $850,000 to work with. And that's where we're coming in at on final budget. Few reports I've provided for council. Appendix A and Appendix B are largely the same report. The difference between those is how your expenses show up. Expenses in Appendix A is by department or function, and Appendix B shows you the object of expenditure, so salaries, contracted and general services, so on and so forth. So what have we done? How has the budget changed between interim and final? If you look at Appendix D, we've got a net change of $11,144 between old version and new version. So we've rolled any new spending approvals into final budget. So I'll remind council about the housing for healthcare professionals. You'll see that showing up in your schedule of capital projects. A few minor things like throwing an extra couple $1,000 at the Foothills Forage Grazing Association. We've updated our assessment figures, reduced some of our tax rates. What else is in here? We've allowed a little extra for fuel costs. So we budgeted diesel at $1.60, and hopefully we're not too far off. Actually, hopefully we are too high on that. Hopefully those all plummet. But we did make an allowance there. So that's where a lot of the play in the individual lines comes from there. Apart from that, we're in pretty good shape. We had an excellent report from the auditor. We do take a long view. So I was asked if we could do something similar to a Brazeau County who's given their taxpayers a 20% discount. This year, the county provides a 2.5% discount if you pay your taxes on time. And I would just say we don't play the theatrics quite the same way. It's a long view at the County of Newell. It's taken a long time to get to the point where we've got the piggy bank and we've got savings, we've got a track of sustainability in front of us, which is really great when there's wars, oil prices spike, and you know you can get through the next year without having to sock your current taxpayers with a massive increase to deal with the volatility in the world. So we're in a real fortunate spot at the County of Newell. A lot of that is related to the non-residential tax assessment that we have out there. With that, I'll get off my soapbox. We are looking for approval of the 2026 final budget as presented, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Matt. Are there questions? Councillor Johnson, go ahead.
Yeah, just a comment, Matt. That was excellent. We got to be pretty proud of this. It's Shangri-La all over again. But we got to be vigilant too. Like, this is all oil patch money, and it's going to go away someday. So we can't let our guard down as far as attracting new business and things. But excellent work to your whole team.
Thanks, Councillor, any other questions, comments? Councillor Baumgarten, go ahead.
Just because my linear brain kind of cracks when the final budget has 14.9 transfer from restricted surplus, and Appendix A, I don't know if I'm reading it right, but it says 13.75. Is that just puts and takes of the final roll-up, or?
Sorry, say that one more time and I'll try to keep up with you.
The RFD has 14.9 in net transfer from restricted surplus, and then if I go to the bottom of Appendix A, it's 13.75 basically. I don't know if it's just rounding errors or the puts and takes when you did the reconsolidation.
Go ahead.
Yeah, my apologies. The net transfers on the RFD needed to be updated to that 13.7. The 13.7 is the right number.
Thank you. Okay, Councillor Screever.
Yeah, just to confirm, Matt. Yeah, things. Sorry, Mr. CAO Fensky. How so the big calls that I would receive from my division would be, how much is our taxes going up, and from what I see from the information that you've given is that this year, as far as residential tax rate goes, to the average person, we're dropping about 8% this year. And then if you look at over the course of time since 2022, we've dropped 22% on the residential tax rate. Now that doesn't include assessment increases, but that's a pretty good haircut for the residential tax rate, which is very, very encouraging. And you look at municipalities like Brazeau, where they took that 20%. We're doing that. I mean, we are reducing the mill rate. So we do have positives with respect to the percentage decrease on the taxes. So.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead. Councillor Johnson, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this question applies to any of this, but is there a CDC line on this? Do we know how we ended up?
Go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair, your CDC numbers show on Appendix C. They're not broken out separately, but they're included in Function 64, Economic Development. The quarterly reporting that administration provides to council does include that broken out on a separate schedule. I'd point your attention to the last council agenda, March 25th. I believe is where we had the Q4 reporting, and you'll find CDC South in there.
Okay, thank you. Are you good with that?
Yep, it is what it is.
Yeah. Councillor Chrisman, please.
Through the chair, if you're ready, I would like to make a motion to approve the budget as presented.
I'm ready for that, thank you. And in comments to that motion, I will reiterate kind of what I said before. I think we're in a remarkably positive position, good to see. Looking around the province, I think that we don't have to look too far. I mean, there's lots of similar situations, but I think we can be quite pleased and proud of this one, and express our appreciation to Matt and his staff and his crew for getting us to this point and keeping us where we're at, as well as long-term appreciation for the people who have helped to manage the county over many years, and imagining the things that we think about around this circle are pretty positive compared to what they might be if those numbers weren't the way they are. So thank you for that. And with that, we have a motion on the floor, and unless there's any other comments, anyone? All in favor of the motion as presented, please, or given, that's carried. Thank you. Thank you for that. So with that, shall we just carry on to 9.2, and then we'll do the bottom end of our agenda and then move back up to the top end. So let's move to requests for functions of council. Premier's Summit on Fairness for Newcomers. We've had that circulated. Someone have a motion with regard to that? Are we looking for one person or more? Councillor Crispin, go ahead. Thank you.
I was the one that put this forward. I received the invitation through my county email, and so I sent it out and asked for council's consideration ahead of time because it was a timely situation. And nobody else offered to come with me, so I have registered and I am available to go, and I'm up there on RMA business, so it's going to be a cost-shared event. So I'm just looking for a motion to approve my attendance.
Yeah, motion for this to be in order. Go ahead, Councillor Johnson, you make the motion?
Yeah, I make that motion.
Okay, thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. Any other functions of council we need to look at? Councillor Kopp, please.
I'm just trying to pull it up here. We got an invitation from FCSS. It's not loading. On May 2nd, it was a training. I didn't write it all down. Just a second. Anybody else know what I'm talking about?
I haven't seen that, but I'm sure it's there.
Anybody else have anything while I'm trying to find this?
Any other functions of council? I will.
Yes, that's what it was. Board leadership.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair. Board leadership for Southeast Alberta training event. Effective Boards, Thriving Organizations. This is May 2nd from 8 to 3:30 at the Medicine Hat College Brooks campus. Yeah, funding provided by FCSS. So I think if you're on a board, this might be a useful day.
Sure. Yeah, that's right. I hadn't seen that. Well, actually, I did see it, but I'd forgotten about it or hadn't looked at it in detail. What's your suggestion, that anyone who's interested could attend? That looks like good training for anyone who's interested in
Yeah,
polishing
that
up
wobe
their-
my motion.
Okay, that be available as a function of council on May the 2nd to anyone who is inclined to be able to take that. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. Any other functions of council? This may be a time to speak. I'm not sure where on the agenda, but yesterday I was at a function in Calgary where primarily an agriculture meeting where Kim McConnell, you might recall Kim McConnell was the person who interviewed Jim Gray last fall, that a number of us attended, was interviewing the Honourable Cody Bloy, who had been for a short period of time Canada's Agriculture Minister and is currently the Parliamentary Secretary to the Prime Minister. So he's quite engaged with the Prime Minister's office on a regular basis in Ottawa. It was an interesting event, probably more interesting for the people I met than the actual presentation in some ways, but just wanted to say that there was a lot of comments about, or met a lot of people who had been engaged at some level with CDC South and asking about that, among other issues as well. So just for information, it's not a function of council. I'm not suggesting it should be. I was, I think, invited from some previous industry involvements over the years. But any other functions of council? Seeing none, let's move on to municipal services business. Welcome, Mr. Mark Harbert. Haven't seen you for 2 weeks. And you've had some moisture to contend with in that time frame. Welcome.
Good morning, or even council. Happy to be in front of you as well. New month. We spent a lot of time together last month, so keep it to a minimum this month, maybe. Monthly report. Municipal enforcement, pretty standard business as usual. You can see our officers are trying to stay current with things that are trending with the recertifications and or additional training that they're doing for safety purposes within our community. Fleet services, due to having the new equipment, the newer fleet trucks, the replacement schedules and things that we're doing, we've got time to service the fire apparatus, so we are bringing those things in-house, reducing the out-of-house expenses, which is great to see the guys being able to tackle that stuff. Spring, summer, fall, winter, I don't know what season we're in anymore. We're getting a bit of everything, so we're supposed to be rolling into spring. Everything that we need for spring, summer programs is exactly what they're working on so that we're ready to roll when the weather permits. And through the Enterprise Fleet Management Program, we have the new trucks showing up. There's 9 of them in our fleet right now, so we're moving into Chevrolet trucks this time. Those are the total lowest cost of ownership that Enterprise has recommended to us based on government incentive purchasing and operating costs and resale values. So slight change in that. You won't see us in the Fords this round anyway. Operations, yeah, we had graders out on the road in Bazzano and Rolling Hills yesterday, and we had plow trucks running around on the pavement around Brooks area because we were in whiteout conditions and snow accumulation and ice. So interesting day for operations, but those staff members of truck drivers and grader operators are keeping up with what the weather demands of us to provide the services for our ratepayers. And same with our maintenance operators, keeping up with signs and hamlet plowing and sanding and things like that as needed. Engineering, very active department. We got bridge files on the go. Update for bridge file 70919, which is located on Range Road 142 north of Highway 544, which is over by the Romans Dairies. That road is now open. They still have some cleanup and other remediation work to do. Bridge file 78847 is on Range Road 164 south of Highway 550, right at the intersection. That work is now getting arranged with Fortis and the contractor to relocate the power facilities, and then we'll be able to move on the bridge file. Paved road engineering services was awarded at the council meeting on March 12th, being used in the engineering design, tender contract management, construction of paving projects that we identified in the capital budget. So those things will be going on, as well as the paved road study to get us our condition assessments, inform our asset management plans, and those other matters. Lots of meetings going on with landowners based on various projects. Range Road 15-0, the exploring the GEM ballast access road that we've talked about a few times with you, that's also in budget, trying to find and navigate our way through that. Important one being the JBS access road. You can see work is being undertaken there. They're working to try to get the culvert crossing in place on the EID infrastructure with because they're going to turn the water on and start flowing it. So try to get the culvert in place, get those things ready in advance, and then the rest of the work can continue. We secured our line painter. 2 bids were submitted, 3-year award contracted to the low bidder, Line West Limited. Below thresholds of coming to this table, so awarded administratively. And the engineering supervisor has taken on the certificate in professional management of assets and working through that program. CAO, myself, several other staff have been through that. Really helps develop and pull everybody along and get our asset management plans in with what preventative maintenance strategies need to be there, the timing of asset upgrading and replacement. Keeps our capital plans informed for you. Other matters, really processes, procedures, and I'd just like to highlight that you see a drop in the permit activity in and around the region. And I say that that's a political and economic environment that we have no control over, but it's an indicator of what kind of activity is taking place throughout our region, and it's lower than it has been historically. So I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Your last comment there, I think, is noticeable too. There just isn't as much happening. Any questions or comments? Councillor Screever, please.
Yeah, thanks for the report. As far as Hamlet street cleaning, street sweeping, when does that usually happen?
beginning of May. That's already secured and schedule is in place as per annual plans.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? If not, thank you for that report. Good to see things happening. I think we'll delay the approval.
Yes,
of
the motion,
municipal
yeah.
reports till after.
If I may, one further comment, just a reminder again from previous meeting, dust abatement program is open. Please be mindful your ratepayers are seeing an increase in the price, but we've talked about it several times, but applications are open. We've got some new people inquiring about dust abatement. We got our regulars all serviced with their previous applications, and they're rolling in and being paid, and the last day is last business day in April, so.
Thank you for that. Thank you. With that, let's move back up on our agenda to item number 7.1, right, which is the bylaw for the Fundraising Society of Rolling Hills School. We need second and third reading. You'll recall we had first reading, I think, what, 2 weeks ago? And are there any questions, Matt, anything more to add to that, or just pretty standard? Go ahead.
Yeah, through the chair, pretty standard. We do have to allow a petition period to pass for the bylaw to be valid. I can advise council no petition was received, so you're in good shape to provide second and third reading today.
Okay, thank you for that. Any other questions or comments, or alternatively someone willing to move second reading? Councillor Kopp makes that motion.
Yeah, for second reading.
Thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. And similarly, third reading, Councillor Johnson, make the motion for third reading. Thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried as well. Thank you for that. That was quick and painless. We appreciate that. Let's now move on to item number 7.2 and a series of activity after that. Welcome, Shannon. The bylaw 2119-26, the special tax for the Eastern Irrigation District, needs 3 readings. Go ahead and.
Yeah, I'm here for 3 readings on this. This one is an annual one that I'm here every year for. The EID gave me 412 properties this year. And yeah, it's just the same. They give me the list, we flip it and collect it and send the payment to them.
Yeah, basically we're collecting the fees on behalf of the EID, okay? Any questions or comments, or someone prepared to move first reading? Councillor Kopp, please.
I'm just curious how that, does that just show up on their tax form, and is it broke out separately?
Yeah, on the tax form on the right-hand side is a whole section for local improvements, and that's where this is listed. So it'll say, I can't remember the exact wording, but EID water agreement or something like that I think I have on there, and then yeah, it shows the amount. Because each one on the schedule, it's not the consistent amount, it varies depending on what the ID set it at. Yeah.
Right, and unique to each property basically within their organizational structure or their fee structure basically. Right?
Yeah, it's just on properties within subdivisions. So like my place is just an acreage, I pay the EID directly. These ones are just within subdivisions within the county.
Okay. Good information. Someone prepared to make first reading, a motion to first reading, Councillor Kopp. Any further discussion? All in favor, please indicate. Thank you. That is carried. This is somewhat routine, quite routine actually, but someone prepared to make a motion for second reading. Councillor Baumgarten. All in favor of the motion, please indicate. That is carried. Similarly, consent for third reading. Councillor Chrisman. This is consent for third reading so that we can consider all 3 readings in one meeting, basically, is the routine of that. All in favor that we consider third reading today? That is carried as well. And is someone prepared to make a motion for third reading? Councillor Screever. Thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. Similarly, let's move on to bylaw item number 7.3, bylaw 212026, a special tax for Rolling Hills irrigation.
Yeah, this one's also me. So this is how we fund their irrigation and the maintenance of it. So we collect based on the properties that are benefiting from the infrastructure. And then the county pays the bills, and this is just how we collect it and pay those bills for them.
Our special tax, basically, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. Councillor Kopp, go ahead.
I have a question on this one too. So are there only particular properties in Rolling Hills that have this and some of them don't? So how did they water things if they don't?
Go ahead, Shannon.
I believe they just don't have a riser, is my understanding. On the county web map, like on the public web map, there's a layer for special tax bylaws, I believe is what it's called, and you can see the properties that are affected. It's in a specific color. So, and that is something that I circulate out to the Hamlet Advisory so that they have a visual of who is affected and who isn't.
Thank you. Someone prepared to move first reading? Councillor Baumgarten. Thank you. All in favor that we approve first reading? That is carried. Thank you. Similarly, second reading. Councillor Hofer. All in favor of second reading? That is carried. And then also consent for third reading for today. Councillor Skanderup, thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. And would somebody make a motion for third reading? Councillor Johnson. Thank you. All in favor? That is carried as well. Thank you.
I still have more.
Item number 7.4, which is similar for Scandia, correct? Same story completely, isn't it?
Yeah, they're identical.
Thank you. Okay, someone prepared to move first reading for the Hamlet of Scandia. Councillor Skanderup, thank you. All in favor, please indicate. That's carried. Second reading motion, Councillor Hofer. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. And consent for third reading today. Councillor Kopp, all in favor that we give consent for third reading? That is carried. Now motion for third reading. Councillor Chrisman, thank you. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Yeah. Are there any, yeah. We should, do you want to take 5 or you get? We'll move on to the Hamlet of Rainier. Same story exactly. Someone prepared to move first reading. Councillor Skanderup, all in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Someone prepared to move second reading. Councillor Baumgarten, all in favor, please indicate. That is carried. And consent for third reading. Councillor Kopp, thank you. All in favor? That's carried. And who will make a motion? Councillor Screever for third reading. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you. Thank you for that, Shannon. Now we'll move on to this one is maybe a little more specific or conversational maybe. The bylaw for the bylaw number 2123-26, which is first reading for our tax rates for 2026.
Yeah, a little more work goes into this one.
Yes.
So Matt kind of touched over high level. We took advantage of some inflation and some growth. I did want to Appendix B kind of breaks down where the funds are coming from, which assessment class, which is nice, and there is the graphic there that kind of shows you where our money is coming from. Appendix C, I did want to just draw your attention to. The education did go up a bit this year, quite a bit. And I did want to highlight a bit, like more to earlier discussion about the local improvement. Your tax notice does break up. So the first section on your tax notice says municipal, and that's what we focus a lot on. But there's also a section for the no foundation and for the education tax. So like when a ratepayer opens their tax bill, they look at the bottom number, but there's a lot of different things in there that that make up that number. So if they're angry or upset or have questions about the taxes, it's important to kind of work through some of that. for example, I did a little bit of numbers. So like a residential assessment of 300,000, the school tax amount would be $780, which makes up 42% of that total tax bill. So that's just something to keep in mind. The municipal taxes on that bill would be 1,008. So just something to keep in mind, that the percentages and the division of them is just good information, I guess, or just to understand. But yeah, so any other questions? That's all I have, and I'm looking for first reading.
Thank you, Shannon. Questions? Go ahead, Councillor Crispin, please.
Yeah, so have you considered, or would you consider putting in an explanation sheet to back the tax notice, explaining that to our ratepayers? Next year, we can put police funding on the front of the tax notice, but legally this year we can't. So we could talk about police funding, we could talk about the increase at Newell Housing, the increase in the school tax, not a diversion, but an explanation as to why the tax notice is going up when everybody in the news is going to be saying municipal taxes at the County of Newell went down. So why are my taxes up? I'm just asking if we could consider that.
Yeah, and that's in the works right now. We historically, I've always done an insert that's just like a third of a page that kind of directed traffic to the website. But we since last year we got the new folding machine, and which opens up and makes it so much more efficient to include a whole page front and back. So we've got a lot more real estate that we can put that kind of stuff on, and it's in the works right now. We're still working on our insert, but yeah, we've got a lot more room to highlight some of that stuff on there. So yeah, the insert will be awesome this year.
Okay, thanks. Thank you. Councillor Johnson?
Yeah, I agree with that, Kelly. The only number that anybody really cares about is the bottom number, and that explanation would be excellent.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments or questions? Matt, do you have any comments or anything? Go ahead.
Just we always kind of struggle with how much information to throw in the tax rate RFD. We've had a pretty good trend going at the County of Newell, right? If I look at, and I printed for council's information, just hot off the press this morning, tax rate comparisons, and I apologize, only the 2024 tax rates are currently available on Municipal Affairs website. When 25 comes out, I'll do the comparison there, but you'll see in each of the tax rate categories, the County of Newell is well below average. Non-residential, if I was comparing our 2026 rate to the 2024, you'd be ranked 8th in the province. Residential, you'd be ranked 22 out of 63. For farmland, you'd be ranked 23 out of 63. When you flip that page and you look at the County of Newell's tax rates compared to our municipal neighbors in the region, your residential tax rate's more than 2.4 times less than the next lowest, which is, that's great, good for our residential folks. Farmland, you're in the ballpark. And non-res, including linear, you're the lowest there. Over time, since 2022, you've got the trend on the tax rates. So farmland, you'll see, has increased by about 17% from 2022, so 7.56 up to 8.85. Your non-res has dropped 9.2% from 9.04 down to 8.21, call it. Your small business has dropped 11.3% over those years, 6.93 down to 6.15. And lastly, your residential was at 4.27, call it, in 2022. You're down 21.3% at 3.36. How can you drop the tax rates? Well, it's because assessment's going up. It's either real assessment, so new things come into the community, houses, warehouses, pipelines, electric, solar, and then inflation pulls that number up as well. We're in a habit of when inflation goes through the roof, so Last year, residential went up on average 8.8% just inflation. So that's just, my house is worth more. I'm not necessarily making 8.8% more at the job. We strip out inflation. We'll take the real growth. Real growth on the residential file translates into about $78,000 extra dollars, a 2% increase from the residential group. Within that group, it's going to be lumpy who actually picks up that $78,000, but we do have a habit of not just keeping the tax rate fixed. If we've looked for a total revenue growth of 2.5% at budget planning, that's what we anchor ourselves to. So we've had a really good trend of assessment increasing and being able to get more competitive with most of our tax rates, farmland being the one that by design is a little bit higher.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Any other questions or someone prepared to make a motion to approve the tax rates? Councillor Scandrup makes the motion to approve first reading. Any further comments or questions? Seeing none, all in favor of the motion, please indicate. That is carried. Thank you, Shannon. With that, I'm going to suggest that we take 10 minutes. 10 minutes? Yeah, so welcome to the representation from Brooks Junior High School. We're ready for you. Our agenda's going well this morning. So welcome, Mr. Jared Hofer, and if you would take a seat up here and introduce the people that have come in with you, and then we'll introduce ourselves around the table here as well. You just have to punch that button and should go on. Yeah.
I was going to say good morning, but it's getting pretty close to lunch. I will introduce myself. I'm Jared Hofer. I'm a guy who wears many hats. I'm the current principal of Brooks Junior High School, and I'm also a representative of Brooks Community Football as well. With us today, I've brought our two main fundraising ladies. We have Becky Senecal.
Welcome.
And Tara Stogre. They are the two ladies who are in charge of our fundraising initiatives for this multi-sports field.
Great, thank you, and welcome here this morning. I think we'll ask Matt to kind of give us the background or the details, the rundown of what we're considering this morning, and then take questions. Go ahead. Oh yes, I said that we were going to do introductions around the table, and we'll do that. Go ahead, Neil. Sorry.
I'm Neil Johnson, Division 7, north of Brooks Rep.
Good morning, Nadina Scandrip, Division 2, the hamlet of Tilly and surrounding area.
Ben Hofer, Dutchess, Division 8.
Good morning and welcome, Greg Screever, Division 5, Lake No Resort and south of Brooks, around the lake.
Good morning, nice to meet you. I'm Kelly Chrisman from the northwest side of the county, Division 6.
I'm Arno Dirksen, the Reeve of the County, representing the GEM area and the rural area around the village of Rosemary.
Good morning, Matt Finsky, CAO.
Hi there, Dan Baumgarten, Division 1, Rolling Hills.
Good morning, I'm Lynette Kopp, Division 3, Patricia Millicent area.
Good morning, Ariana Nielsen, Executive Assistant.
Hello, Catherine Siaklik, Communications Officer.
Thank you, and I'll ask Matt to give us an introduction to the topic at hand.
Thanks. Through the chair, Council, you'll recall back to January 15th, we had Mr. Hofer and representatives from Grasslands Public Schools here for a very thorough presentation on the multi-sports field project, along with the field house. I have tried my best to shoehorn all of that information along with answers to some questions which have come subsequent into a 2-page request for decision. So you've got a request from Grasslands Public Schools for considering a substantial monetary contribution to the Brooks Junior High School Community Sports Field project. The specific ask is for 25% of the total estimated project cost of $3 million. So a $750,000 donation for council to consider, with funding coming from the Recreation Fund. I've included for your information in the package the letters of support that we've received to date. I think there's still a pending letter of support from the lacrosse folks that is due to come in. Our recreation facility improvement funding policy, which talks about a maximum 25% contribution for new builds. We've summarized the fundraising efforts to date, $35,000 plus $500,000 approved by the City of Brooks, another $500,000 recommended for future budgets. The initial fundraising efforts really directed at the provincial grants which are available on a matching basis. So the benefit to the fundraisers in locking down the municipal contributions is you can multiply those potentially by 2 from the province, which is good whenever we can get 50-cent dollars in the region. Done our best to summarize what anticipated usage of the field would look like there. So you've got several organizations beyond just the public school programming, soccer association, football folks, lacrosse. This would be a new area for them to step into the outdoor. Grasslands has always been pretty good about sharing their facilities. St. Joe's Collegiate, soccer program, Terry Fox runs, what have you there. I'm not going to regurgitate the entire RFD, but administration and representatives from BJHS are here for answering any questions council may have left lingering.
Thank you for that, Matt, and you will read the recommendation that we have that we'll consider later, that we match the confirmed provincial funding and local contributions on a dollar-for-dollar basis to a maximum of $750,000 with funding to be provided from the Recreation Fund. Are there any questions? We've had a very, I think, extensive presentation previously on this project. Is there anything quickly to add, or nothing's changed too much since the last time we discussed this?
I've been told to keep things short and simple.
Okay. Okay. No, that's good. And thanks for coming in to answer questions. Are there any questions? Councillor Screever, go ahead.
Yeah, I unfortunately missed that meeting, and I apologize for that. I do have a question though, with respect to the actual the multi-sport turf. Now that's the artificial turf. Is that correct? Okay, so the Grassland Soccer Association letter did mention the multi-sport turf, so that is a good thing. And as far as soccer goes, they're fine with using that, obviously. I do have another question too, but if you want to talk to that, that would be great.
Yeah, in conversations with the Grassland Soccer Association, it's unfortunate. I'm going to a meeting with them tonight, actually. I wish I could have had it beforehand. They really, really support this facility. They've bid for provincials 3 times. They've been asked to host provincials, but they don't have that quality stadium/field that the Provincial Soccer Association feels comfortable with. When we look at what their usage could be, I always say the biggest crime in any sporting facility, because we spend a lot of money on them, is when they sit empty. This field will not sit empty. It'll be really busy. So no, Grassland Soccer, they're in favor of it. And I can talk about how we envision that looks, but they will use it in conjunction with what their other needs are.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, through the chair. And also just a couple questions with respect to the size of the facility with the new rules put down by the CFL. Is the high school rules changing with respect to football, and will that change the size or where the standards are put, and how do you envision for instance, rugby and soccer, those particular standards that are required? How do you envision the change there between the?
Yeah. So, Football Alberta, the governing body for football in Alberta, they have not come out in favor of saying, yes, let's change every single football field, amateur football field in Alberta to the CFL size. They haven't voted on that. They haven't discussed that. Typically in sports, when we see a change in a size of a field, or for example, in schools and gymnasiums when we were in FIFA for basketball, and now we have a wide key or we have a narrow key. Typically what happens is they just play on the size that is provided. And so if I was to take my educated guess as someone who used to be a part of Football Alberta and their executive, they're not changing the amateur field to the different size. It would just cost so much to change that and to move uprights and everything else. When I look at the other sports and the way it is laid out, I did send an addendum with a picture of the Medicine Hat field. And when you look at that, you can see the football boundaries, and they're in white. In the yellow, almost orange, that is soccer. And what you'll notice is the soccer pitch is actually wider than a football field, so those lines are on there. And then there's also blue lines that are on there, and those are for rugby. And so the field fits all 3 sports. The one that isn't represented on there would be field lacrosse. And we haven't built ours yet, so that would be easy to include.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions? Councillor Christman, go ahead.
Just a comment, really. I wasn't at your presentation either, so I'm sorry about that. I do want to thank you and your volunteers and Grassland School Division for all the work. They've compiled a great product, and I almost feel like it's a long time coming. When you see the field in the dry conditions, right? And I know that this field serves the entire population of the county. So for that reason, I'm in favor of this project, and I wish you all the luck with it. And when you're ready through the chair, I'd be willing to make a motion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions or comments? Councillor Scandra, please.
My comment, I know the city has said 250,000 and then 250,000, and I feel like since we only have half the population that, what? 500. Okay, 500 two times? Oh, so what was I looking at that I saw 250?
I can answer that for you. So they have given us $500,000 currently, with the recommendation in 2027 for another 250 and another 250. That's the budget they're taking it out of, so they can't actually say, oh, here it is all in one sum. Does that make sense? But they've committed to $1 million.
Yeah, over a period of 3 years.
Over a period of years, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That answers your question?
Well, I still feel like when we only have half the population, that's a lot of money to ask from the county for the number of people that will be using it from the county. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that. Councillor Christman, go ahead.
If I may just point out that all the markers were met through our recreation fund policy. This policy was a long time in the making, and whether it's in Scandia, Bazzano, or Brooks, it's meeting the criteria of what we set out for the projects to build on. For that, I really appreciate. Some people come in and try to skirt the process or the project around, but this meets all our criteria. There's even some safeguards in there. If funding doesn't get where the funders want it to be, the county is safeguarded in that we're matching the fundraising dollars. So that I appreciate as well.
Thank you for that.
Could I address your concern? Because it's a very valid concern, and I'm a County of Newell ratepayer. I live out here. If you looked at that original package that I created, and then this is just using football as an example, the percentage of students who attend Grasslands from the county was sitting around 10%, but that 10% didn't apply across sports. I mean, over the years of being the head coach of the Roadrunners football team, I would say closer to 40% of my population of my team has always been from the County of Newell. I can't speak to what soccer's numbers are, but I'm willing to bet they're probably pretty high. And so I understand what you're saying. I also understand that our residents in the county, they do take advantage of those facilities that are located in the city of Brooks. So I hope that can, like I said, I know what you're saying, but I also see it as an incredible opportunity and asset for the whole city and county region.
Okay, thank you for that. I think also we're kind of accustomed to contributing not on a per capita basis equal to what happens in the city of Brooks, simply because of the source of our revenue and the situation that we're in, which we're also grateful for. But any other questions or comments, or are we ready? Okay, Councillor Johnson, and then...
Yeah, I just agree with Kelly again. The funding is available to every area of the county. Brooks is applying this time. It's no different than anything else.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Crispin, are you prepared to make a motion? I am. That's, Councillor Baumgarten first, sorry, go ahead.
Just a bit more clarification. The letter of support from the Soccer Association is great, and I have no doubt that they can see using it, but I've also heard they're building new fields. Have they come up with a forecast or a prognostication in terms of usage of the new fields plus this one? Is there solid forecasting and or outlook in terms of usage of this field for soccer?
Yeah, I don't want to necessarily answer for soccer, but what I can tell you, because I was kind of prepared for a question like this, Grasslands Soccer Association is in desperate need of additional fields. I mean, they have upwards of 575 students, and I just want to make a comparative list for people to understand when we talk about the different sports and activities are offered in Brooks and the County of Newell. In the city of Brooks, does anyone know how many ball diamonds there are? There's 9. The 3 in the West End, the 2 at Duke, and then 4 over at the Quad. And that's just designated baseball. And I know that their numbers aren't as high as soccer. And I'm not saying we don't need 9 ball diamonds. I'm saying comparatively, they have 9. Grasslands Soccer Association, they don't really have any. They've been using grasslands fields. And as I've said in my last presentation, I challenge anyone to just go around to the schools right now and see the shape of their fields. They're really, really rough. So when I think of what soccer would be using our field for, I see, and I know Tara had a conversation with Brad yesterday, their travel teams, their more rep teams, their older level kids, they would play a lot more and practice a lot more on this junior high multi-sport field, but they will still need those additional fields for their program. So I do see them using it and using it as much as they can. The other thing that I'll say is the seasons of play, they're in the spring. They're going to start there right around middle of April and go until the end of the year. And that's part of that where I'm looking at this field. It will be used between football, between soccer, you get lacrosse in there, the possibility of rugby, the school use, it will be. So yes, I see them using it and using it a lot, but it'll help, but they still have big needs. There's no doubt about it.
Thank you. Does that address your question, Councillor Scrafer?
What kind of community business support have the fundraisers been able to, what is the talk around the area? Is there community support, like as far as commercial business?
We are really in the infancy stages there. We did have a fairly big meeting, and we have some big ideas of what we can do. We're looking to have a sit-down meeting with some other major community contributors. And I don't want to mention any names, but everyone can think of a couple that come to mind, one for sure. It's hard for us to have those meetings and discussions when we don't know how much is on this side. And at the same time, it's hard to ask on this side when we don't know what's on the other side. Does that make sense, Craig? Yeah, but yeah, no, I mean, Tara and Becky are the two that are spearheading this, but we have a group of about 20? About 20 people ready to get after this. Yeah, because that $3 million price tag, I mean, that's the minimum. If we raised and went above that, there are so many things that we could do to improve that facility.
Okay, thank you. And I think in reference to the recommendation that we're going to consider, that is a matching opportunity. So I think it makes provision for community support too. So are you prepared to make a motion, Councillor Crispin?
I am. My motion is option 1 as presented, to a maximum of $750,000 with funding to be provided from the Recreation Fund.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All in favor of the motion, please indicate. That's carried. Is that what you came here for today, partly?
Yes, thank you so much.
thanks for coming in today, and we wish
Thank you, everyone.
the best with your project. Great to see people in the community working together to increase the assets and the opportunities for children and adults in the community. So thanks for what you're doing, and wish you all the best as you carry on, and we look forward to being a part of a successful celebration when the project is done.
Thank you again.
Thanks. Let's move to item number 10.1, and I see that Mr. Steinley is here. Welcome, Cole, if you want to.
Thank you very much for having me. I just wanted to take some time to give you some updates because we had a few open-ended items that were on my report from last time. So nothing new. That's why I didn't submit a report. I just wanted to touch on a few things that we talked about previously in my last month's report. Most specifically, the Scandia pump house. We were installing a new pump there, had some issues with it being wrong, had to get some divers in, that kind of thing. We've got it installed, but unfortunately we've replaced the drive unit that powers the pump, variable frequency drive. It's not communicating properly, so we've had CDN controls working on it for about the last week since we had it installed. They're in contact with the manufacturer currently. So the pump's all installed, ready to go. It runs, just doesn't run automatically as it should. So we're just trying to get that vetted out and fixed. So that's ongoing, but everything's installed. So that's partial good news on that. Council also tasked me to go back to MP Engineering and ask about maybe some monies coming back for their guidance in picking the wrong pump. So I did talk to their vice president. He emailed me back and said, upon looking at everything, the as-builts were done up wrong due to the general contractor that installed that back in 2013. So their engineer was quoting wrong documents, thinking that they were right. So they placed the blame on the contractor that is since hasn't been here since 2013. So it kind of was a dead end, but that was kind of their reply to that. They thought that the information was correct. They had no reason to believe it wasn't. And we couldn't verify it on site because the contractor didn't install the proper tags in the electrical panel that said what the pump was and give us the information on anything submersible. We want that up above ground so you can tell instantly what's in there and what you're dealing with. That has been rectified since the new one's been put in. But unfortunately, that doesn't kind of fix what happened in the past. So that's where we're at on those two fronts. And I just wanted to update you on that.
Sure. Thank you. Are there any questions or comments? Councillor Baumgarten, please go ahead.
And just if I remember our last meeting, that Fortis is looking into the line find issues in terms of the pump house power supply and stuff like that. Just, I'm glad to hear that there's still an ongoing investigation just to avoid similar incidents in the future. So hopefully they come back with something tangible or something to that effect.
For sure. And we'll keep on top of them, and we're not just going to let it kind of fade away. I found it odd that they had basically two parts of their company saying different things. Their staff in the field and their staff at headquarters or wherever you call 310 wire. They seem to have different ideas of who was at fault or why it happened that way. So we'll let them sort it out, and I'll keep you abreast of the situation.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Screever, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank you for the tour of NRSC. That was great. Learned a lot, and I encourage anyone who hasn't been on that tour on council that it is something that is definitely worth doing. My comment: I was in one of my plumbing contractors that I work with. I indicated that I went through a tour at NRSC, and I was very, very impressed. And he says, yeah, that would be really, really good to go through. I've never done that, and he's a contractor known in the area, and he's been working here for 40 years. So is there an opportunity to go through for maybe not general members of the public, but for people that deal with water and sewer and things like that, to come through as a tour through the facility? Is that possible?
Absolutely. I'm a big proponent of, kind of showing people we're kind of forgotten, and everybody just turns their tap on, expects the water to come out. And when it doesn't, that's the only time we ever hear anything, and that's fine. That's the industry that we're in, and I'm perfectly happy with that. But I think any opportunity you have to educate people of what we do and how we do it and what kind of facility that we're running, it's gold standard. We have communities, like I have a request from Chestermere to come from the mayor and some of their councillors to come and tour the facility, stuff like that. Alberta Environment, whenever they're breaking in a new water quality specialist, they come by and take a look at us to see what a well-run regional utility looks like. So, and then dating back to my days in Medicine Hat, I used to give tours of the water plant there to school classes quite regularly. And to be honest with you, I've only done one, maybe two in the last 13 years here. It's just, for whatever reason, and I've reached out to teachers before when my son was still in high school, that science teachers, stuff like that, please come take a look. We're anytime, just pick up the phone, we can give you a tour. And it just doesn't seem to happen, but I've always been a proponent of, I will gladly show anybody who has interest in it.
Thanks, that's good to hear, so people can contact you directly or for those kinds of things. And I guess in the context of all of that and finances we discussed this morning, I again express appreciation for the initiative that was taken more than 15 years ago to get that done when it was done, because it's something that is a great asset to this area, and thanks for the good work that you do. Yeah.
Yes, I think it's amazing. I think we did catch lightning in a bottle 15 years ago to make it work on all levels throughout the member municipalities, and to see what it is today, it just goes to show that collaboration can work, and it can be really successful for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And to that light, I commented to council earlier today at a meeting that I was attended in Calgary yesterday, and someone from the Wheatland area commented to me about the significant collaboration history that we had, and that went back more than 15 years too, to the good work that people have done from our councils and our municipal representatives over many years to work together. And the project that you're the manager of is certainly a result of that, which we all appreciate. Yeah. Okay, with that, thank you for coming in this morning, Cole. And I think from council, we need a motion to approve the municipal reports, some of which were given earlier today. So a motion to that effect would be in order. Anyone prepared? Councillor Hofer. All in favor, please indicate. That is carried. Thanks for coming in today, Cole. I think we don't have any post-agenda items today, do we? So a motion to adjourn would be in order. Oh, we're going in camera. Do we have anything to go in camera? If someone makes a motion to go in camera, we will, but if there is, no one has anything to raise, we can dispense with that. Seeing none, a motion to adjourn would be in order. Councillor Johnson, thank you, and it is 5 minutes to 12, 11:55 on April the 8th. I'm not sure we've been on this side of the noon hour before, so good work, everyone. Thank you. Motion, all in favor that we adjourn. We got in under the bell.